hitting all over. Spat. Spat. Spat.
Okay. Hey, real quick. Tests. I want these back, so don't put them away. Notice up here. Any missing work. Practice tests. I don't think for you guys I have anything, so no worries for you guys. If you have any extra copies of books, if you want them today, and then sign-out sheets tomorrow in class. Tomorrow in class, unless the office confirms you're gone tomorrow, which I only have one kid. So, not you. So, but tomorrow in class I'll sign-up sheets. That's all the only thing we're doing tomorrow. Today we're going to do the review, and then after that we can play games. You can do whatever you kind of need to. I know a lot of you have tests tomorrow.
It says 14 questions. Oh, I thought it was Friday.
Yeah, there's
today.
14 numbers.
That's where they operate. Oh. You could have just said review test.
I'm gonna do it from
I did.
125.
Semester test review.
8. Oh. Oh, okay. Well, I thought that was the first one, and then we were gonna do 20 questions.
No.
Don't get it in the water.
You got water in the desk?
Yes.
Why is there a question mark here?
Okay, so you don't
I
get
do have a scribble mark and then a question mark.
Ooh.
I know that was wrong.
What's 5 divided by 1?
Oh my gosh.
Why?
Just saying.
That's
You're lucky I didn't count that wrong.
You're lucky.
I don't want
And,
I'm so good until the last page.
Okay, alright.
Missed all my points on this page.
I did not.
I made 7 points. I missed 4 on
And
this.
boom. Alright.
Oh, never mind.
That's how that
I
was
just
pretty
added them together.
Alright. Can you hit the lights for me, Brent? Perfect. Thank you. Alright. Hey, let's go over the tests. Alright.
Wrong.
Okay, test. Test is out of 62, as you guys can tell. Let's go over the first couple problems here. I'm just going to walk through these. That is a 28. That is a 2y minus 8. Sorry, it's really faded. But and then you have the 25 and you have the 3x plus 4. You can set these equal to each other because it is a parallelogram. So you can see me do that. You can set the other two, the 28 and the 2y minus 8. You can set those equal to each other. Now, this is where, if you made a mistake at all, I think I had one person over the whole time. They made a mistake where they subtracted the 8 across. And they got, 20 over here and they divided. It's supposed to be adding the 8 because you have to do the opposite to the other side and get 36. That was the most common mistake that I saw on that one. But everything else went pretty easy on that one. So just kind of picked an easy one that you could figure out the parts. Now, you had to use that same exact concept for problem number 2. So on number 2, this is a system where, if you notice, I took all my parts and I labeled the picture. It's the same concept. This piece equals that one, so the 2x plus y equals 12. The x plus 2y is equal to 9. And then when you have that, you have to pick one of the letters. Now, you might do this differently than me. I picked y. I don't know why I just picked it. And then, so I multiply the bottom row by 2. So I get 4x, 2y, and a 24. And then I made the top row negative, because I need to make them the opposites. So when you add, this is where somebody went wrong. A lot of people actually did. Negative 1 plus 4 is 3. I had a lot of people saying 1 and 4 make 5, and they forgot the negative sign on it. But it makes 3. These cancel out. This is a negative 9 and a 24 that makes 15. And again, that's another part people got wrong if they forgot the negative sign. And then you divide and you get 5. Then you have to plug back in. Now, I don't care which one you plug back into. I just picked this one because I thought that was the easier looking one. So 2 times 5 plus y is equal to 12. So the y had to be a 2. So there you go. There's your answer. And it didn't matter if you solved for x or y first. It would have been the same answer. Now, the last one. You have parallel lines in this one. I kind of warned you of that. You do have parallel lines in this problem. But here's the thing. On this picture, you had to just solve for x. So the trick was, this is a polygon, so the outsides always add up to be 360. That was just a common rule that we talked about. I add up all the x's, so there's 9 total x's. So there's 2, there's 1, 1, 3, 1, 1. That makes a total of 9. You add the 10, 18, negative 1 makes 27. You subtract the 27 across and divide. I had a lot of people getting 333 divided by 9 wrong. I think somebody took 333, they divided by 9, and they told me the answer was 3.
Oh, I did not do that.
And I was like, not even close to that. But again, it's just, that was a common mistake. The other mistake, I had a lot of people, like, instead of getting 360, they were trying to find interior angle, so they said it was 720 for a hexagon. That's the interior, we're doing the outside, so it's 360. Alright, let's move on. Okay, this is one that I really heated on practice test today, that you're going to get a rectangle. The diagonals are the same length on a rectangle. So if this is 30, then each of the 6 are 15s. And that's how you do this problem. That you have the 4y plus 7. This has to be 15, because all the pieces are 15s on a rectangle. Does that make sense? Now the reason why I made that problem and I pulled it, is because I know somebody was gonna read the instructions, see the two things I gave you, and most people just assume they're automatically equal, without even like doing any like labels on the picture. You had to label the picture, that's why I was warning you. Draw it on the picture so you know how to set up your problem. Because a lot of people just set it equal to 30 and they got the wrong answer, they got some weird decimal. Okay, alright, let's move on to number 5. You have to do Pythagorean theorem. The most common mistake on number 5 was putting the 9 and 11 in the wrong spot. The 11 is the hypotenuse, that should be the wall that's by itself.
The base.
So, yeah, x squared plus 9 squared equals 11 squared, that's 81 and 121. You subtract that over to get 40, and you take the square root. Square root of 40 on a calculator is about 6 point something, so, because 6 times 6 is 36, so it had to be just above that. So there you go. And again, it had to be smaller than 11. 11 was the biggest wall, was the hypotenuse. But that was the most common mistake. All right, number 6, you have to do Sohcahtoa to this problem. Sohcahtoa, I labeled the wall. So here's my angle, the opposite wall, and then the hypotenuse. You should never get the hypotenuse wrong. You should know what that is. So the formula I'm doing is so, because I'm using opposite and hypotenuse, O and H. That's how I know which one to pick. So now that we're doing that, we're doing sine of the angle. Notice how I wrote that, sine of the angle equals O over H. Second letter over third letter. X over 12, and then you just multiply the 12 across, and that's how you type it in. 12 sine 45. The most common mistake people made, they kept putting the numbers in the wrong spots. Like I had the 45 out front, I had the 12 in the wrong spot. It's always the trig function, sine or cosine or tangent, and the angle behind it. And when you multiply the number across, you have to multiply the number out front. I had somebody yesterday, they were getting really frustrated because they kept multiplying the 12 over, and then multiplied on this number made like a huge number. You had to multiply it up front, because this is a decimal on a calculator. So it's 8.4 total, and that should make sense. This wall should be smaller than 12. 12 is the hypotenuse. Last one, now this one, if you notice I have 2 different answers, or 2 different ways of doing it, even though they're the same answer, because it mattered in which angle you picked. So if you picked the 41, that's the opposite wall, that's the hypotenuse. So I'm doing the same formulas up there. So sine of 41 equals x over 10, or 100, sorry. And then if you didn't pick the 41, you picked the 49, this is the adjacent wall and the hypotenuse. So you're using cosine if you pick the 49, because it's adjacent to hypotenuse, right? So then cosine of 49 degrees equals the adjacent over hypotenuse. You multiply the 100 across, you type it in, you get the same 65.6. And again, the numbers should make sense. They should be around 100, but not over it. All right, moving on, number 8. I had a lot of people asking throughout the day, like, Ward, what does it mean with 3 letters or 2? I can't tell you that. I told you that on practice test day, that I will not tell you what those things are, right? That if it's 3 letters, you're going the long way around. If it's 2 letters, you're going the short distance around. So 3 letters, E to H to F, E to H to F. It's basically doing a full 360 minus that little piece right there. So I took 360 minus 50. So I get 310. Now, if you're going the 2 letters, you're going the short route, G to E. Short distance, because again, 2 letters mean the short path, so 60 plus 50, which is 110. That's pretty easy. The next one, number 9. It was very clear to me when people were cheating on number 9. What I mean by that, they just had their answers in the wrong spots. They're like, oh, X is a 95, and Y is a 70, because you just copied from somebody else that you talked to. Because how to do this problem, you're supposed to add the opposite angles to make 180. So y plus 85 has to make 180. That's how you do that problem. So the y had to be the 95. So it was very clear when somebody would just, copy from a neighbor during a point where they're asking during like a lunch or after school or something. Because I had, the answers were correct, but they're in the wrong spot, so it just told me that they didn't do any of the math themselves. They just copied from
Well, I thought it goes the straight line equals 180.
No. On that picture, since the quad's on the inside, the opposite angles are supplementary.
Okay, what is the one where it's like a box number?
That's when they're parallelograms.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, they're not
Is this not a
parallelograms. That picture is definitely not a parallelogram.
Looks like a trap.
All right. Number 10. You have to add the 2 angles together. Divide by 2 to get the middle number, or it's the number directly in between 135 and 140, which is 137.5. Number 11, you have to multiply the 2 sticks together. So you have the 4 and x, you multiply those together, and you set that equal to the 5 times 8, because you just multiply, right? So 5 times 8 is 40, you divide it by the 4 and you get 10. So it's pretty easy. Last one, you have to find area. It was very apparent when people were not like even attempting to find the parts. If you didn't attempt to find height or do any of the process correctly, you automatically missed 4 points or more. If you at least attempted to find height and then you just didn't know where to go from there, that's fine, you might have missed 2. But it was very apparent, like I had people just saying, oh, the area is 15. The only way I can get 15 is taking 5 times 3, and that's not how you do it. You have to find the height. You have to do Pythagorean theorem to that triangle to figure out height. X squared plus 3 squared equals 5 squared, because they cut the 6 in half. So when you do that, you get 4. So the height's 4. So you take the height times base and you cut it in half. 4 times 6, cut it in half.
Yeah, I have no idea how to do
Yeah, that's the area formula. We talked about that in chapter 4 and chapter 8. Okay, 13, the constructions. Now, to explain the constructions, you guys had very, very nice compasses, right? They're very, very rigid. To grade yours, I use this. It's plastic. It has a lot of wiggle room, so it gives you a little bit of room if you're making mistakes. So I always do that to keep it fair, that you don't have to be super exact. You have to be within the tolerance of this thing because it definitely wiggles a lot. So now, to do this, you have to do a parallel line. You would not believe how many people in this first picture did this. Here's the picture. That isn't parallel. It says parallel. That's perpendicular. Know the difference in the book, in the words. We've only had perpendicular in every single chapter test. All right, so you have to copy the angle. So you have to draw a line. It didn't matter actually where you drew this line. You have to draw a line through P. Draw the arc, draw the same arc, then measure the gap, and go over here and mark that. And again, where I know to put it is when I measure this gap, you have to put your compass right there. I can do it with my fingers quick enough, but again, I was using a compass, so you had to be within tolerance of it. It was very clear when people weren't. I could definitely see it with my compass. It was like you weren't even close to the right markings. All right. And number 14, there was actually 3 different ways you could do 14, because I picked the one where you had to do perpendicular. So mine got really faded here, but you can kind of see my marks if you look really hard. Here's my marks. But you can take your compass, open it up past the halfway point, and then mark above and below, switch it around above and below, and then just draw a line connecting the 2 axes. That was the first construction we did. I think it was construction number 3. We did another one where you could put a point up above and you draw the little smiley face, and then you use that same compass, you go to the corners of the smile and make an X down below and draw the line. We had that one. That was construction number like 4 or 5. And then we had the last one where you could put a point on the line. I had somebody actually do this. I was really impressed by this. They marked either side of it, and then they picked up their compass, opened up past the halfway point, and they made their marks above and below using these spots.
Who did
And
that?
that was construction number, I think that was construction number 5 or 6 that we had. But those are your 3. But there was only one person I saw that did that. I had a lot of people do this one and or that one. I think the funniest one that I saw was somebody did this.
Like,
Oh god.
They copied the segment to a different spot.
They
It says
switched it around like they used to do.
Yeah, you're supposed to do perpendicular, not copy the segment somewhere else. So I tried to explain it, so that person definitely failed on 2 accounts because I explained it over a 2-day period. So, all right. I wouldn't put something that easy on the test. That's why I kept stressing how to copy angles and do perpendiculars, because you have to copy angles for that first one. All right. But that's it. It's at a total of 62. Lots of good scores there. I was actually really impressed by that. So.
Did anyone got 100 as well?
Oh yeah, there's quite a few that got 100. So. There's, I think, out of all like 85 geometry kids, I think I only had like 1, 2 fail. So it's not bad. It's a pretty good average. It's a
I
pretty
heard
good
a lot
goal
of
group.
people feel
So, alright. Alright, I'm gonna walk around, I'm gonna collect my tests. Okay, I'm gonna collect. Now, if you need to study for a different semester test, you can. If you wanna play a game, you can do that. I had, last class, they played a board game. They played chess. I think they played cards in the last class.
And this was like 30 minutes.
Yeah. I'm gonna show you a different game if you want. If you're bored, I'm gonna show you a game up on the board. It's kind of geeky, but the last class actually got into it. So it's called Cyrptoquote. What? Have you ever seen it before? Okay. Oh, well, last class got into it. Like they were like, I don't know why, but like I had the class like actually paying attention to it, and they're actually doing it.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I was gonna bring my brother's computer, but I ain't.
Okay.
Yes,
It's movie day. And I go, what are we watching? He's like, "Well, here's an art." And I said,
This hair is so
He
bad.
goes, "Ooh,
Alright.
oh, interesting." And I go, "Is it?" He goes, "Well, sure." I was like, "You don't even like it, so why are we watching it?"